Well, Hurricane Hunter has just flown through Dorian, 160-mile-per-hour winds, so that now puts the storm at a Category 5, and it's just about to move into Greater Abaco and then the Grand Bahama as we move into tomorrow. And notice that this storm is very well organized. We have that very well defined eye wall there. It's symmetrical, and not only are they going to be dealing with 160-mile-per-hour winds, those extend out 30 miles from the center of the storm, but they also have tropical storm force winds, which extend out 100 miles from the center. And Elbow Cay has already reported winds of about 35 miles per hour, and that's just going to increase from there. And this storm is really going to slow down. It's only moving at about 8 miles an hour right now, and it's going to get even slower than that as the high off to the north breaks down. That steering flow breaks down, so it's just going to crawl through the northwestern Bahamas today and tomorrow. So they're looking at 15 to 20 foot storm surge above normal tides where we're seeing those onshore flow. And then we also are looking at anywhere from 1 to 2 feet of rain, up to 30 inches possible in some spots. This is going to be a devastating storm as it moves through the Bahamas. And we're not looking at that turn off to the north until we get into Tuesday. And it's continued to strengthen as it's in an area of low wind shear. Look at these water temperatures in the lower to mid 80s. But since it's going to slow down, once we get into tomorrow, we're going to start to see some of that cooler air being churned up from this storm. So we'll get a little bit of upwelling, but a lot of heat potential around the system right now. That's why it is maintaining its strength as a Category 4, even Category 5, and it's still going to be very powerful as it moves through the Bahamas. But notice where we're seeing the green. That's that cooler water moving up, but still a lot of heat potential for it to work with as it moves along the east coast. But we are going to slowly see it weakening down to a Category 3 once it gets closer up towards Georgia and South Carolina. But it's still going to be a while before that happens. And models have been trending with that turn happening out offshore, keeping the center offshore, but some of them you'll notice are making that landfall along the east coast. So that is still a possibility. And the National Hurricane Center official track, we still have that cone of uncertainty along the east coast. So they can't let their guard down just yet. They are even looking at potentially some tropical storm force winds as we get into tomorrow evening. But the track still has it hopefully offshore as we get into Wednesday early morning. So this system we're going to be talking about all week long. Georgia and the Carolinas definitely need to keep an eye on it as well. But as I mentioned, as we get into Monday evening, West Palm Beach, they have tropical storm warning in effect. Looking at some of those tropical storm force winds, and then those will ride up along the east coast. They're going to see those wave heights starting to pick up today, but really noticing them tomorrow. And here, we're not going to see the impacts that great, but we are still looking at about 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts as Dorian tracks offshore. So this is if that track holds, but if we start to see this shifting a little bit more inland, then our winds are going to go up. So based on this track, we're looking at about 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts through Tuesday into Wednesday. So it's going to turn breezy out there. We're also going to see some showers associated with Dorian, but the greatest impacts are going to be along the east coast, and then hopefully the center will stay offshore, and so that'll keep the most devastating impacts out over the Atlantic.